Hey guys, it's Ross over at the Daily Jaws, and welcome back to another exclusive video. In this video, I am joined by Dan Carver, aka Jaws Mad 1975, because he has made a very, very important discovery. And we think Dan's discovery answers a question that Jaws fans have been asking for nearly 50 years. But before we get to that, let's welcome Dan back. Hi, Dan. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We've been talking now for quite a while. This is about an hour or so in, and my Jaws mug. I drink to your legs, everybody. But my Jaws mug is running very, very low. But I am really excited about finding out more about this discovery that you've made. So the question, or the thing that a lot of Jaws fans ask us about, is the Quint speech. Now everybody knows the story about how it came to be, how Spielberg felt Quint needed a reason to hate the Sharks. And Howard Sackler, the uncredited screenwriter of Jaws, came up with this idea for the USS Indianapolis. However, during the speech, there's an error. Tell us about that error, Dan.
Well, the error, as probably most people know, is that he gives the date of the sinking of the Indianapolis wrong by about a month, and it was often wondered why that one slipped through the net, I suppose, and hopefully we've got an answer for that.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where you just think, how did that happen? Was it continuity? Or another theory was because of the shooting of that speech happened over 2 days, and the first day Robert Shaw, should we say, was not on his best form, should we say. He was slightly inebriated, and the story goes that he was mortified by what had happened, spoke to Spielberg that night and basically begged for a second chance at doing it. And then he came back on the second day completely sober and absolutely knocked it out of the park. But when you look back at the final sort of sequence, you can see that there is definitely 2 days of shooting there. So people were thinking, well, it's either a continuity error or maybe Shaw misspoke because they've used the take from when he was drunk on the first day. But that's not the case, is it, Dan?
Well, don't think so. I think we might have stumbled upon something rather interesting. It came off the back of a conversation via a video link that we had with Carl Gottlieb, and we were all given a little question that we could put to him. And my question was, what was the origin of the Indianapolis speech? And he kindly sort of talked through it, a lot of the things that we already knew about who brought certain things and whatnot. And then he sort of looked off screen and just said, in actual fact, Howard Sackler had a book. He said, I'm looking at it right now. And then he read the name of the book out, and he said, and he took the Herbie Robinson speech directly from that book. So I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. So me and a couple of friends managed to track down the book, and sure enough, when you read it, it's a bit like reading the screenplay, from the speech. It's almost word for word in places. But there was quite a big detail in there that initially I missed the first time, and then when I reread it the second time, my sort of jaw dropped. And it is because there in black and white from a book in the 1960s is given the date of the sinking, and it's the same date as they give in the movie, which is wrong.
Wow. What was the book that Carl was referring to, Dan? I think you've got a copy, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's by Thomas Helm,
Mm-hmm.
and this was written in the 60s. And there is a great section in there on the Indianapolis. It's very short. It's
Mm-hmm.
only about 4 pages, but the language in the book is very, very close to what's delivered by Shaw in the scene. So I'm
Right.
pretty certain that that book was definitely on set and being used
Mm-hmm.
as directed for that speech. And yeah, like I say, that the date of the sinking is misprinted in that book. And I can only assume that when they had it there, they took the speech and changed it around a bit. They just went straight with that date and didn't check it.
Yeah,
So
I mean, because the mythology around the Indianapolis speech is again one of those amazing Jaws production stories. Because you know, as we know, Spielberg, Quint needs to hate the Sharks, Sackler, USS Indianapolis. He obviously then basically lifts the experience from this book, and then everybody and their mother and their dog and their cat gets involved in writing this speech, and then it finally lands with Robert Shaw, who then writes it and turns it into something that he can then perform.
Yeah,
But the one thing that remained constant in every single iteration, no matter whose hands it landed in, was that date, because it's a fact that we assume was correct because it came from a book that Sackler had.
yeah,
Ab-
absolutely.
Absolutely amazing, and honestly, just something as simple as that. That's sort of because what I was speaking with Laurent Bouzereau recently for various things, and he sort of did the original Jaws documentary, the really good one that was made, I think, for
Mm,
the 20th anniversary. So we're getting on for 30 years ago now. And he famously said that when he spoke to David Brown about the making of Jaws, he said, "Listen, you're going to get Rashomon when you speak to everybody about this, because everyone's going to have a different version of the same story for you. The truth
yeah,
is subjective, and we're talking 20 years after the fact now, so memory plays a part in that, and facts will get misremembered. But the question about the date of the USS Indianapolis, given that it's a month apart, it's not a wrong. It's not like a little error.
yeah,
It's quite a big error. We now know, or we apparently seem to now know, why that date appears in the movie, even though it is incorrect. It came from a book that Sackler used, and the date was not checked.
yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. How does it feel to be the person that has discovered this and answered this question for the millions of Jaws fans around the world?
Uh, well, I mean, to be honest, when I found it, I was a bit sort of dumbstruck and just assumed that this was probably common knowledge because yeah, I am a Jaws fan and I love everything to do with the movie, but I kind of thought that someone else would have come up with this, and I've sort of sat on it for well, best part of a year now, and I haven't seen anyone else that sort of been able to come up with any ideas of any differences or why would it not just be that? But from what I can understand, especially having the providence of talking to Carl Gottlieb and him pointing out this book, the fact that it was on set and it was being used by Sackler, and then to see in black and white that the date is incorrect, especially when all the language in the book is it's so obvious that it was used to help sculpt that part of the speech.
Mm.
It just yeah, it blows my mind to be honest.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for taking the time to pick up on that and to buy that book after Carl Gottlieb's recommendation, just to, complete I guess, your literary archive of Jaws history, and then to take the time to really read it. Because I know a lot of people that buy a lot of these books and they just sort of leave them on the shelf. And it's like, oh, I'm a Jaws collector. Oh, yeah. Tell me about that book. I haven't read it, Ross. Oh, okay. All right, fine. But you've actually dived deep into this book and you've plucked out, and I think you probably have now solved a mystery that's been sort of maybe plaguing the Jaws community for sort of nearly 50 years. And I can't wait for their reactions to this video, because I think they're going to be mind blown, and it's just going to make the Jaws community sleep a little more easily at night. I think that's the main thing that we're going to take away from this. Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time today. It's been absolutely incredible. We've talked about your Jaws journey. We've looked at that incredible collection that you've got, and we've also solved a 50-year-old Jaws mystery in, well, just over an hour. I mean, that's not bad for a Sunday, is it?
no, no, it's not too bad at all. I might have to go and have a celebratory drink now, Nick.
Well, before I sign off, it's customary for me to leave the final words for the guests. So, do you have any words of wisdom or Jawsdom for the fans out there?
Keep loving the movie and yeah, keep just sharing all your collections as well. I love seeing what other people have got, and yeah, go and find the next mystery and solve it.
Nice. Where can people follow you, Dan? Where can they find you?
You can get me on Instagram, JawsMad 1975. Also on various other platforms, YouTube. I've got a JawsMad YouTube channel, and yeah, pretty much anywhere on any platform you'll find me somewhere.
Fantastic. Well, they can now find you on the Daily Jaws, because we're going to be posting these interviews up on our website and on our YouTube channel and on social media as well. So, guys, I've been Ross for the Daily Jaws with Dan Carver, aka Jaws Mad 1975. As always, I hope you've had a wonderful time. It's been a fantastic conversation. I've really enjoyed it. And I'll drink to your legs and I'll bid you a fond farewell and adieu.